So the principle of our work is, as Uwe explained a bit before, we have to interact with other systems. And when you want to interact with another system, you have to find a common ground. So, for instance, when you talk to your banker, he won't tell you all the nitty detail of his work, but he will adapt his language to you, and you will do the same if you are doing business. You won't discuss all the detail of your business with your banker, but you will try to speak the same language. So you kind of abstract your business complexities, so you will understand that you will make profit or not. Here it's a bit the same. We need to abstract the complexity of openIMIS. So other systems that are not insurance systems will be able to understand and manage the information that openIMIS will transfer to them. When we discuss about payment, there is not so many items that comes to mind. We have invoice. I mean, we can have order, invoice, and payment. So as a basic one. In our case, here we don't have the order because it's another workflow, because we are talking about the payment, so the order is already done. So we developed in that context only 3 kind of objects in openIMIS: the invoice, the bill, and the payment. The difference between the invoice and bill is subtle. It's just to avoid mixing them. So the invoice is when someone owes you money, so basically when you deliver a service, and a bill is when someone else sends you an invoice. So you owe money to someone else and you consume the service. But they are kind of the same structure. And then, so once our first step was to create those bill and invoice and payment objects in openIMIS. And then the second step was to make conversion from openIMIS object to those items, those objects, those payment objects. So we developed this conversion for the policy, for the contract, for the claim badge. There is other conversion that we made, for instance, for the payment fees, for the fees of the enrollment officer, and so on and so forth. But I won't go in more detail. And then so that means that every time you create a policy, we are generating now an invoice for that policy, because someone will deliver a service, we provide a coverage. And so someone needs to pay us, so that's why we create an invoice. And when for the claim, we create a bill because we owe money to the health facilities. But we didn't restrict this capacity only to existing item. We also, because now that we have the bill and item, we also enable the possibility to create those bill and invoice based on openIMIS events. So the openIMIS creates kind of events saying, oh, a policy created, a payment is done, a claim is received, and whatever. And the way we design the payment layer work inside openIMIS enable to listen to those events and say, in that case, I will create an invoice, I will create a bill, or I will create a payment for. Basically, we will to configure it, we'll have to configure the strategy and how this will be made. So the strategy itself, it's a piece of code that is developed upfront. So we won't go in detail because again, that's not the point here. And we'll show you that, and then we can go to the demo. Okay, so regarding the demo, so the first thing I will do is to first work with you with the different things to configure. So you can understand where things are coming from. So the first point, when you want to have a payment, of course, is based on so this demo will be a use case of when someone creates a policy we send a cash payment bill. So in order to create a policy, we need a product. So those are products. For instance, we'll use this product. It's a normal openIMIS product. There is nothing different from a normal openIMIS product. Then we will create the payment plan. So that's a new concept we introduce with the payment layer. The payment plan are strategy to pay something attached to a product. So here we have a multiple payment plan. We have the payment plan to pay the health facility. For instance, here it's using the fee for service. Here we have another one for the capitation payment. So it will be, for instance, based on those payment plans that we will be able to generate the bill for the health facility. So that means that you are able to configure how you will translate a claim, for instance, into an actual payment. So maybe you want to pay everything that is claimed and approved, or maybe you want to have other mechanism that will enter into account to change a bit. If you have the capitation strategy, then it means that you will affect a part of your benefit to the payment, and that will work as it was working on the legacy openIMIS. So in our case here, we will, I created one before this payment plan. So this payment plan, so I just set up a code and it's a demo data. So of course, if you have to do it for your context, you will have a code that means something, a name that means something, maybe that was defined by law. So that will be, of course, better structured. And then we'll choose what kind of payment plan is it. So here we choose behind those lists, behind this item on that list, there is a code to transform something into a bill or invoice. So here there is an unconditional payment. So this rule means that when we create a policy, we'll get a bill to pay the insurance. So that's why it's called unconditional cash payments. And we will create that bill only if we have a policy for that product. So that means that you may have this payment plan for that product, but for another product, you don't want to make cash payment every time you have a new insurance, then you just don't configure the payment plan and you won't have any bill that will be created. Of course, you have the validities, and then you have the additional parameter where you can set up the amount that will be given to the insuree. So here we can also specify what will be displayed on the invoice itself. So then, I will create a policy now. So to create a policy in openIMIS, you have to go in the family. Here I restrict the family on Taida because the product we use is a product for that region. So okay, and then I will use any. I mean, I can use this one. Let's use this one. Okay. So here, I mean, you can see that there is already one active. We'll just add one additional policy. So sorry, I went a bit fast. So here we have the list. We have the family, the data of the family. We have the list of insuree. And here we have the list of policy. We can see here that there is already an active policy. Let's remove it. And we will just create another policy. So I will refresh that page. So now I will create a policy. So we say that it will be only available, the rule, the payment plan we made for this product. So we use that product, I mean, payment officer doesn't matter. And then we create the policy. In order to, here you see there is a value of the policy because it's and that's a demo effect. Okay, so here we can see now the policy was created. I will just add up the contribution. Just to complete. And so it's a contribution. So yeah, just because this product was configured with 10,000 as contribution, of course, it's a configuration of the product, so you can put anything you like. Okay, and so now the payment, I have the amount of payment, the date of payment, so I can create the payment. Okay, so value match, that's good. And so now the code will work. So now if I go in bills, okay, I will, that's demo effect, sorry.
Patrick, we'll have to look at time a bit as well.
Okay, so here you have the bill, and then I will stop here. Here you have the bill, so with the amount that was set up, sorry, was it here? That was set up on the screen before on the rule, on the payment rule. So then that's what I wanted to show here. Then external system, so that's my previous example, can fetch this data using an API, and that's an example I just created just before the meeting of a bill using the API. So you can see that you will have the amount here, same amount. And that's a structure using FHIR, so it's a standard structure for the bill. So normally every system that can read FHIR should be able to read that bill. And that's it for our part.